Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Ladies Best Life podcast. I hope you're feeling absolutely sensational today. Today I have got a special guest with me. This absolute legend I met out here in Dubai. He is a fellow fitness coach, has a couple of businesses and does some fucking fantastic work in this world. I decided to bring him on today because I think you will be able to relate to him in a lot of different ways, and he's going to bring a lot of wisdom a lot of wisdom to today's episode. So Henry, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
How you feeling?
Yeah, it's good actually. I'm looking forward to this.
Good.
It'll be interesting.
So we're going to go straight in and go deep. Tell us about you.
Well, been in Dubai around 2 years now.
Yep.
Came out here as a personal trainer, originally working for a company. Quite quickly wanted to sort of go freelance, start my own thing. So I work partly with a company called Level Up, which is a kind of a group training, strength training program, mainly for women, but centered around men and children and teenagers as well. And I'm a freelance personal trainer and sports massage therapist with a background in sport and exercise science.
Okay, so that's your title in regards to business and career.
That's correct.
Tell me more about you.
About myself, I love playing rugby. I'm really sporty. I love hanging around with friends, socialising. A nice balance between work life and play.
Okay.
If you don't want to call it that as well. I enjoy the sun. That's why I'm out here mostly. I like the active lifestyle. I've just started jiu-jitsu on and off recently, which is really eye-opening for me and very humbling. What else do I like doing out here? Yeah, just exploring the UAE really. There's a lot more to offer than just Dubai. You can go up to the different Emirates and see it, get connected with nature a little bit more. Traveling is one of my favourite things to do as well. So yeah, different part of the world. It's easier to travel kind of the rest of the country, hit like the rest of the world from here, like places like Asia, Australia, a lot nearer than where we are in the UK. So yeah.
Nice. Why Dubai?
Well,
Initially.
Yeah. Well, initially I moved here with my ex-girlfriend originally, and we met here previously. So during COVID, when I came here, during COVID times I came here to avoid the second lockdown and did some work here. Really liked it. It's tax-free. It's very open for business. It's easy to open a company here or start a company. And the people you meet here all seem to be in the same boat. They're a lot more entrepreneurial, and you surround yourself with those kinds of people, and it kind of does put you on a bit of a pedestal of yourself of what you want to achieve, and it makes you grow your goals a little bit more, I think, as well, for sure.
Why is that important to you?
I think you can either get caught up in the lifestyle back home where you earn a salary, you get a mortgage, you get married, you have kids, and then you die, and then you just kind of stay in that thing, and that's fine for some people, but for me, I want something a little bit different from life, where I can kind of maybe have mini retirements throughout my life, rather than just working the 9 to 5, getting 2 weeks holiday a year, making loads of money for someone, being in control of my own destiny a little bit more. And Dubai, I feel, is a little bit more easier to do that here than it was in the UK. Although I did do that in the UK reasonably successfully. There's higher taxes to pay in the UK. The cost of living's gone up a lot more, and just the people you can surround yourself with in Dubai is a lot more diverse, shall we say? And yeah, it's a safer country to be in as well. There's less crime. There's other types of crime here, but different to not kind of your violent kind of crime you see day to day in the UK at the moment. So. Yeah.
The reason, just so everyone listening wonders why the fuck we started laughing when we were talking about, get a job, retire, die, is we were just off air talking about this and about the societal blueprint and how, and for anyone who doesn't know what that is, so generally there is like a pre-laid out path for a lot of people in society in Western countries, which is go to school, go to college, go uni, get a job, get a house, get married, retire, die. And kids in there as well sometimes. And both Henry and I are very similar in the way that we don't want that sort of life. And I've always been very not afraid to hide that. So I've always been very open, I suppose, about the fact that that's the sort of life that I want. Okay, so next question.
Yeah.
What makes you unique as a human?
It's a good question. I like to think I'm a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none. So I know a little bit about lots of different topics. I'm a bit of a history geek. I'm quite into my politics, different politics from around the world. I like to follow different things that are going on. I try to take what the media says with a pinch of salt, both Western media and other media you see across the world, including what you see on social media as well. I like to think I'm quite open-minded to different new things, new challenges, and of course we all have our slumps like we all do, but just trying to grow through those challenges that come in life rather than kind of slump into them, I guess. Feeling sorry for yourself and getting caught up in that way. Trying to learn and grow from different things that have happened in your life and just develop, really. Yeah.
So you think you're different because you don't slump into challenges, you know different things, like you're interested in different topics across the world and like politics and stuff like that. So that's how you think you're different.
Yeah, I do have a big sense of empathy for people, genuine empathy, I think.
Okay.
And it grew stronger when I started to study to become a counsellor, which I didn't finish, but I did a 1 year or 4 year diploma. And that really opened my eyes to listening skills, being able to empathise with people properly, and just surrounding yourself with different kinds of people that can think in a similar kind of way. It can kind of go below their subconscious, beyond more than just their subconscious, down those levels a little bit more as well, which I'm still working on myself. But it's sometimes it's a good thing. We had this discussion earlier as well. Sometimes it can be a good thing, but sometimes ignorance can be bliss at small times. But I'd rather be aware of those things and be ignorant to those things.
And that is an interesting topic in itself. Like, so just for context, Henry and I were talking earlier about how, some people don't really study, like, not even therapy, but like themselves. They don't really understand themselves. They're on the hedonic treadmill. They're going through the societal blueprint. And we were saying how sometimes when you start to realize these things about yourself, you start to realize, one, how you cap yourself, two, how you can grow further, and three, like there is just so many different ways and avenues that you can go down when you start to explore who you are, what you stand for, your values, your beliefs, your kind of insecurities, like everything that makes you as a human, because you start that journey just going, this is the way I am.
Yeah.
I've inherited beliefs and traits from my parents, or it's part of my DNA. But actually, there is so much of it that's conditioning, right?
Absolutely. And you mentioned upbringing there. It's a massive. A lot of us are aware that the way we're brought up is it shapes our personality. It shapes the way we think. It shapes our fears. Some people like to stay home and very safe. There would no way they would ever move country. They're very set in their ways. I'm kind of the opposite to that. I feel like I'd rather take the risk. I kind of think, what would Henry in 10 years look back and say to myself? And that scares me more than not taking any action at all and just staying in the day-to-day grey skies of the UK. I don't hate the UK that much. I do like the UK as well.
Just not the weather.
Yeah.
Okay, so something you said then like pricked my ears up, and it was about that our childhood can shape our adulthood and who we are and like how we are today. How did your childhood shape who you are today?
Both my mum and dad were married for 14 years. They got divorced when I was about 14, 15. I think the divorce affected me more than I originally thought, actually. I kind of put a block on it and didn't really allow myself to other people to see me affected by it, or my younger sister, for example. And I just kind of cracked on. And that kind of shook me a little bit. Only recently realising that in therapy I got about a year ago. So that was quite interesting. I think beyond that, very good stable upbringing, like kind of a lower middle class upbringing. My mum and dad came from pretty much zero in their bank account. In fact, my dad lost all his property. He was a property developer, lost all his property when I was like 1 or 2 years old, and then kind of built things back up again. So he was away working hard all the time. My mum was a stay-at-home mum most of the time. So seeing my dad going out with his own business, earning money. I think he opened like the first sort of short lets agency in the 90s back in central London before Airbnb, before the internet was even a thing. So he was quite entrepreneurial in that sense. And that kind of gave me my motivation really to kind of go out and try and just create my own small business and be in charge of what I want to do in terms of the prices I charge, the time I want to put into it, and something I enjoy as well. I don't think he does enjoy my dad enjoyed the process, but didn't really enjoy the work as much. Whereas I really enjoy what I do, working with people, trying to change people's lives, seeing the results that comes from it for them as well. So going back to your question, it was very sporty at school. I had a lot of different male role models. I had football coaches. My dad being one of them, but he was working a lot, so I kind of went to other people like friends, close family members as role models as well. So I kind of had quite a mixed bag of experiences growing up, which hopefully has shaped me into someone quite diverse where I am now. I like to think anyway.
I love that. That's so good. And I think it's really important to have a different selection of people to see as role models. Who do you do what you do now for in regards to push your business, push your career, push yourself? Who do you do it for?
That's really interesting, actually. Do I do it for myself? Yes, but then I like to keep accountable to someone. So I have a really good kind of boss/business partner I work for called Anthony. And having that accountability and watching him, the way he works, he's an ex-Marine, so watching the way he works and the way he does things kind of does inspire me a little bit as well. His product that he kind of started with his Level Up journey is a fantastic product. The program itself is exactly how I would have designed programming for athletes when I worked in professional football and rugby back in the UK, and how we programmed for athletes there. And it's just taking that concept. It's quite a simple concept when you understand it and know it, and applying it to weight training for the average schmo, average person, woman, man, even child, teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do it for yourself. You also
Yeah.
do it for Anthony.
Yeah.
Who else?
I've got a child back home, so do it for him as well. And I think for my friends and family, really, as well. Just kind of, they're going to kind of like, I want to prove to them that I can do, be successful and do well for myself, and try and finance things for them if possible, look after them a little bit more if I can financially while I'm out here. Maybe eventually, take them on nice holidays, or and be able to kind of afford to do anything I want to do. Yeah.
Is there an element of you being the man that you are today to get approval from your dad?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think approval from my parents has always been quite a big thing for me. Maybe
Same.
my dad more so, because my mum's always like, oh, whatever you're doing, it's fine.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
a bit
you
of a mum,
anyway.
but yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, definitely, I think there's always that element of things. My dad says something, I will sit on it and think about it quite a lot, and more not often not take action on it.
Not take action.
No, take action on it.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Or see where it leads, or research it a bit more, and to see if it is the right thing to do.
What about if your dad has something negative to say?
My dad doesn't talk things in a negative way. He's quite subjective in the way he talks about things. He'll give me a reason. He'll say something maybe negative, or perceived maybe as negative, but actually, if you think, he'll turn it into a way that's quite either positive, or he'll give a good reason behind it. I think with looking at his career that he's had and being reasonably successful himself, I think he's a difficult person to kind of doubt, I guess. And he's never really been wrong about much.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so both.
That's where you get it from then.
We'll see. So I think just being sure within yourself and not letting your biases or opinions affect your decision making as well. Think about the emotion, and again, this is what my therapeutic courses taught me, was think about the emotion that's in your body at the moment. Park it. Imagine you're inside a bubble. Take yourself outside the bubble. Look into it.
Oh, wow.
Or if it was your best friend, what advice would you give your best friend, and then try and apply that advice to myself when
It's
possible.
so important to do that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Remove the emotion, find the logic, and then you can generally see such a different way through.
Completely.
Yeah, so the reason I asked about your dad is because I have found from speaking to male coaches and even just chatting to guys in general, there can quite often be, and this is generalization a little bit, so don't shoot me down, there quite often can be that they are trying to prove to, and not always in a negative way, but to please or prove to their father or their male role model. So that's why I wanted to ask it.
Well, what happens then if they don't have a male role model in their life? Have you thought about that? Who do they then try and appease?
The person who brought them up.
I see.
Potentially.
Okay.
And I think about it on my side of things. I don't try and get my mum's approval, because a lot of my life I haven't.
Yeah.
But I think from a very young age, I've just been okay with pissing people off.
Okay.
I've been okay with someone going, Sash, don't do that. I'm like, okay, bye, I'm going to go do it.
It's actually a good skill to have sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's what Hormozy podcast, obviously. He was talking about it, and where is he from? He's somewhere Eastern European, and his dad was always the person that he listened to, and he went to business school, and his dad was like, don't go and do this personal training thing, this gym thing, keep doing what you're doing. You can put your 5-10 years into it, and then you're going to get the other side, and you're going to be rich, blah blah blah. And he basically felt so unfulfilled because he spent his whole life trying to keep his dad happy.
Yeah.
And then what he did one day, he literally like left the house, called his dad when he was in Ohio, which I think was like 8 hours away from home. He was driving. He was like, Dad, just so you know, I'm in Ohio and I'm starting this gym thing. And he was like, you fucking what? And that was the only way that he could do what he wanted to do, is to physically not be in the same space as his dad, because if he was, his dad would have talked him around.
Yes, yes.
But so what he then had to build was his own approval.
Yeah. And did he say what triggered him to do that?
Unhappiness.
Unhappiness, okay.
Just constantly feeling like, I'm doing everything to keep you happy, but I'm not happy.
Yeah, yeah.
So something has to change. And that's where you just need to be cutthroat. And then his dad called him 2 years later, after hardly speaking, and he was like, you're going to need to sit down for this. Like, I need to say I'm sorry. And Hormozy just said something like, I can't remember what he said, but it basically like disregarded it and was like, I don't need your approval now. I don't need your apology now. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing.
I do think that's something in Western culture we've got better at in the last sort of 10, maybe 15 years.
Okay.
Is, from what I've seen, I guess I can't back that up with any research, but I guess back in the sort of the 1960s, 70s, our parents were just told what to do by the parents, and they were just like, yeah, whatever our parents say, we do.
Yeah.
It's kind of that respect element for your parents, which is good. But you see it in cultures in Dubai, especially in kind of Indian cultures, where, you know, be a doctor, be a lawyer. These are the two paths for you. You must do one or the other, something successful, or finance, you know. And then saying that, some of the richest people I've met in Dubai are probably the most unhappiest.
Oh, really?
Overall, or stressed. Or they've done something like work in a corporate job where they're earning a good amount of money, but they're working 80 to 100 hours a week. No time with their family. I've known even some instances, 1 or 2 people to pass away from a heart attack at the age of 50 from the stress of the job, you know, from earning all that money, and they can't take it with them. They're just the same when they're buried. So
it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think being aware of that can really change your outlook and the way you think of the path you're going to take. We talked earlier about going on autopilot.
Yeah.
Just going through the day to day. Can you remember what you did last week? No, it was just the same as what I did this week. And you do that for repeat and repeat and repeat without really thinking about, in 10 years, and I look back at what I've actually achieved in my life, or have I done anything worthwhile? Have I had a good time? Have I been happy? If you have been happy, then great, if it's for you. But if it's not for you, and you've got that gut-wrenching feeling that something isn't quite right, and you don't take action, that's more scary to me than not doing anything at all, I'd say.
But so we're like 80% women who listen to this podcast. So
yeah.
You've got a woman at home. Not that that matters, by the way, but I just want you to know for context. So we've got a woman at home who is feeling that gut-wrenching feeling of, I can't keep going as I am. Obviously, I've got 3 children. I've got a husband. But something just isn't right. What do they need to do?
I'd say look at their values. We had this chat earlier, didn't we, about looking at what their values are and be a little bit selfish. Of course, you've got a child, and husband should be there as part of the team, I think, rather than
definitely
someone you're looking after. Of course, the children, you have a responsibility for that, but are you still... Having children is a really, really rewarding thing to do, but staying with children 24/7 can drive you insane because you're not having adult conversations with others. Your husband's at work and you're at home stuck with the kids all day. What else are you doing to fulfill yourself or make yourself feel worthy of what your dreams and hopes were as a child? Maybe go back to your childhood and remember what you wanted to do then.
Yeah, that's one of my favourite activities to do. So I was having vision coaching sessions a couple of years ago, and she was like, what did you... So I was like... She was like, explain your life to me. And I was like, work, train, walk the dogs, eat, sleep. She was like, anything else? And I was like, nope. She said, what did you used to enjoy as a kid? And I was like, singing, playing the piano, like dancing. What else is it? Hockey.
Yeah, okay.
And that's when I started playing the piano again, because I was like, I need to let myself be without a outcome, even though that you can obviously you get better at the piano, so that's like rewarding in itself. But I think so many people just stick in this like, at what fucking stage do we stop having fun? Like, we just work, then we train. I actually love training, so it's kind of like, you know, I don't want to ever stop doing that. It's not a chore.
Yeah.
But like, we as kids can have so much fun. But then it seems to be like from the age of like 19, 20, when you kind of grow up from uni, that you're like, okay, now I just work, eat, sleep, and that's it.
Well, that goes back to the society that we're built on. It starts in our education system, doesn't it, really? We're sat down from the age of 5 years old in a classroom, and we're given a curriculum which suits some people who are academic, But for example, for myself, the school system didn't suit me at all. Anything
Why?
I was interested in, I couldn't concentrate on. Didn't take any interest. The only thing I was interested in was playing sports, running around, and human anatomy to a sense, and history and geography, history and a bit of politics. But that was only later on where I knew I was interested in that. The education system for me in the UK just wasn't fit for purpose for me personally. And I know for a lot of people it is, but I know for a lot of people it isn't. And a lot of my friends who are now entrepreneurs who run successful businesses, way successful than I am, who are turning over millions of pounds a year, they didn't do their GCSEs. They flopped out of school. Some of them went to university but dropped out, and then they had different visions for what they wanted to achieve, and they've been the most successful. I think there was a statistic actually where they look at like A, B, and C grade students, and all the C grade students, GCSE students, now own the businesses, and the A and B grade students work for them.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think there's a high percentage of A and B grade students working for entrepreneurs who are C grade students.
I wonder what those stats are, because I'm an A student in school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why
I'll
do
take
you
mine as well.
you sound so shocked.
I know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really? What?
Yeah, 3 A's, 5 B's,
I can
3
imagine
C's,
that,
1 D. Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then B in college. But I've just always, I've never been a classroom girl.
Okay.
Never been a classroom girl. I think because where it shifted for me in school was when I was able to do my options. So I chose things I was more passionate about.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could do that from a young age.
I know, and they don't teach basic things in school like financial management, what a mortgage is. I mean, I don't still fully understand a mortgage. Fixed rate tracker mortgage, I know a little bit, but I don't fully understand it now, and I'm 33 years old. So
You need to
why
catch
don't they
up.
teach? Yeah, I know. Teach us that at school. Nutrition, basics of how to train properly.
Emotional regulation.
Yeah.
Time management.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hello, just fucking being a human that does have your shit together and can live life.
And they manage that time for you within a structure at school.
Yeah.
So you go in 9 o'clock, you sign in. 9:10, you go to your first lesson. I wouldn't say it's a prison, but it's similar to a prison type system where here's your 1 hour of exercise each day, and then you're just also piloted into that system essentially for the rest of your life. Right, I've got a 9 to 5 job now. Go to work leave work at 8. Leave for work. Get up in the morning at 8. Quick breakfast. 8:30. Get on the train. Get on a bus. Drive to work. Sit in my office. Hours lunch break. Stop at 5 o'clock. I go home. Watch some Netflix. Go to sleep. Repeat. Oh, it's the weekend. Let's get drunk and
Escape.
escape, and then repeat on Monday on a massive hangover and do it all again, and then look forward to your next holiday with your 2 weeks annual leave you get each year. And that's just, for me, just the sound of an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think we're not mocking it for anyone who does that and you love it, fucking all kudos to you, absolutely all kudos.
Yeah.
It's more for both you and I, that's the life that we just wouldn't want to.
And if you're doing it in a job you enjoy, then absolutely, that's incredible as well. You know, you might be a criminal lawyer or something. I don't know, anything. It could be anything.
It could be anything.
I've got a friend who's a postman. He's really happy.
Love that.
Finishes work at 2 o'clock every day. He does a lot of walking. He's up at 6. He's in the gym by 2 or 3 when it's quiet. He goes home, sees his kids, spends a lot of time with his kids, coaches a football team in the evening.
That's right, links to values, right?
Well, this is it, exactly. So it's not always attached to financial reward. It's attached to the values you have.
Yeah.
Who's rich, the postman or the corporate lawyer I just talked about?
Exactly. Well, if he dies of a fucking heart attack, he's not too rich, is he? And that is so true. And I think this is where money beliefs come into it, right? So if you have a money belief that being rich equals misery, you will then cap yourself on financial, and this is all subconscious.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to delve into, the more you can understand the limitations that are subconscious, those tiny little whispers, why am I capping myself at X amount per month in the business, for example? And it could be because of these preconceived ideas or beliefs that you have around money. So, next question.
Yeah.
What's your biggest fear?
Oh, it's a good one. Let me think about this.
You've said a good question 3 times now. I'm on to a fucking
I know,
winner.
they're getting better. They're getting amazing. Let me think. Biggest fear.
Take your time.
I think biggest fear is probably growing old and having regrets about what I could have done in the past. Opportunities I could have maybe taken and not. And also getting stuck into a financial situation that doesn't serve the things I like to do.
So the lawyer?
No, almost having enough money to do what I like to do, which is my current situation, which is comfortable. And obviously you want to grow on that and have a target. And I think it's more... God, what could it be? It's a really good one. Fear. I'm trying to think of something that brings fear inside me and how that resonates. think, yeah, being a letdown to my friends and family is the biggest thing, actually.
How would you be a letdown to them?
Not being trustworthy or doing something that would be considered unethical in their eyes, maybe. I guess not looking after the people that are close to you. Yeah.
That's your biggest fear?
Yeah, I think so.
What about, like, because you're placing a lot of pressure on yourself
Yeah.
for other people's judgment.
Yeah.
Or is it your own judgment?
It's my own judgment as well, yeah.
Okay.
It's not how they're judging me, it's just, yeah, it's how I judge myself, the responsibility I feel.
So even if someone else is unhappy with the decision you've made, if you believe it's the right decision or you've done the right thing in your opinion, even if they're not happy, you'd be happy to take that to your grave?
If I believe it was the right decision at the time, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But then you don't know that until you've made the decision. But is that decision as you thought at the time was good and you've rectified it later on and it wasn't so good, and you tried to rectify it in some way or help find a solution to that, then that's fine as well, I guess.
Okay, so your biggest fear is letting your friends and family down?
I think so, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like that. Cool, thank you. Okay. What has been the most challenging thing you've gone through?
Probably having a child at the age of 19 years old.
Okay, tell us more, if you're happy to.
Yeah, absolutely. So was with my ex-girlfriend, who was an incredible mother for 6 months. And yeah, it was just basically a complete shock to the system, really. It was not expected. At the time, being 19 years old, I didn't want to have a child. But, I stayed with her, tried to help her through the process. We stayed together once he was born for a little while. And then I think it was hard to accept that by the age of 2, we found out he was autistic, quite severely as well. So I was kind of like, God, like, a bit of self-pity, really. I was like, God, everything's against me, even though I brought this on myself, clearly. But I was like, God, I'm a kid with someone I'm not really with anymore. It's not what I wanted. I wanted to be free be free again, sort of 30, into my 30s or 40s, or family free until then. And I've been kind of forced to the situation. And then on top of that, now my son's got autism. How's that going to affect him, and the pressures that puts on myself, and what form of financial aid will he need, etc. Will he get the right help in the UK at his school? So for me, that was probably by far the biggest. I think the death of my grandparents I found quite hard as well. Luckily, I'm lucky my parents are still with me and they're really healthy and they seem to look after themselves quite well. So I'm quite lucky in that front. I've still got my parents, which I know a lot of people my age don't at this point. And I can always turn to my parents if I've got problems, and they're always happy to help, very supportive. So I'm really blessed in a lot of ways, really. So I feel silly complaining about those things.
It's not complaining, you're just being honest.
Yeah, absolutely, I guess. So.
Struggles are subjective, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So with your son and you finding out he was autistic, like, because a lot of ladies I work with have got either children with ADHD or autism.
Yeah.
It's probably like a good 30% of the clients I work with. And they're all really shocked when I say that. They're like, oh my God, really? Like, so we could actually lean on each other. We could actually help each other.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite a pivotal time when you find out that they've got autism or whatever. So, like, what happened? Like, why was that a struggle? Obviously, like, sounds pretty obvious, but explain it.
I think, at the time, they kind of did this assessment. So he got him playing with some toys, and I was sitting there with my son's mother at the time. We were sitting there together. And when she found out, she kind of burst out crying, and I kind of did the whole man thing. I was like, it's okay, it's going to be fine, he's going to be all right, da-da-da. But to be honest with you, I was so naive to what autism was. I was kind of like, I didn't really think much of it. It was only until he got older, sort of 4, 5, 6, and he was still in nappies at the age of 4 or 5. That I was like, oh, okay, as he gets older, there's going to become some real issues here. Still wasn't saying a single word. I think his first word he said when he was about 8 or 9 years old, and he's 13. He talks maybe like a 4 or 5-year-old would talk now. So it's hard for him to express how he's feeling and things like that. Although he doesn't really kick off, he doesn't really have temper tantrums with me anyway. It's more his lack of communication abilities, and sometimes I've had dreams where he just suddenly started talking. I've just woke up crying.
Oh really?
Yeah,
oh
honestly,
my God.
yeah. So it's having things like that, but at the same time, I've also learned a lot from him. He's very in the present. You kind of take him out for a walk, and he's just walking around. Doesn't care about what happened 5 minutes ago. Doesn't care what's happening 10 minutes later. He's just very like, wary of what's going on there and then. So that's kind of taught me a little bit about, like, just chill out. Things aren't that bad, no matter what's going on.
So back to the question.
Sorry, yeah, I completely digressed.
No, it's good because you've obviously given us a bit more context. So, like, why was that so hard for you to find out?
I think after I understood a bit more about autism and what it meant for him, it upset me, I guess, because I'm trying to think, why was it hard? It was upsetting thinking that I wasn't going to have, you know, a normal relationship with what we class as a normal father-son relationship, which I was looking forward to getting into. I'm going to be a young dad and going to be able to go out together and do different things, and it's just not, unfortunately, we can still do things together, but it's not. You don't get a lot back, and any parent with an autistic child with similar disabilities that my son has will understand. You don't get a lot back. You're giving, and when you get one small thing back, it's like, oh my God.
Really?
It's like, yeah, absolutely, but because you never get anything back, you know. So I think in that respect, I think just not having that similar kind of father-son bond you would get traditionally with a traditional, normal, in inverted commas, parent,
a child without
exactly,
autism. So what I'm hearing there is the gap between expectation and reality. So you expected and hoped for, to a degree, like a child without autism, and like you can do then the things that, you know, you can do with a child without autism. And what I really hear people say, and it's kind of like what they're not saying, is you have to go through a process where you grieve the child that you thought you were going to have.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because of what you thought the life was going to be like, and also the life that they were going to live. You have to kind of like mourn that and then start again. And then create a new vision.
And right now I haven't really got a vision for him. It's just taking it month by month, year by year, and we'll just see how he develops really going forward. As long as he's happy is my kind of main concern really. And to be kudos to his mum, he's in the UK. She does a lot of the day-to-day work I provide financially from this point. I go home 3 to 4 months to see him, hoping he can fly out here soon to see me as well. Difficult for him to get on a plane sometimes, but that'll be the next goal, is to bring him out here, show him around here a little bit. But his kudos to his mum. She has to deal with him 24/7, and he's a lot more badly behaved for him than he is for me, as in we all are from mums, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone would be like, "Yeah, Sasha's golden." My mum would be like, "What the fuck? What have you fed her?" Okay. I think I've kind of asked you. The next question was, why do you do what you do? Yeah, let's go into that a bit more, because we've talked about like who you're trying to like kind of prove yourself to and such. But why do you do what you do in regards to career?
I do think for me it's important if you can choose a career where you're making positive change on the world, or it sounds a bit cheesy, but I just like rather than making a negative impact on the world, try and change people for the positive. And in a world with such negativity surrounding us now, and it's not just on TV now, it's constantly on our phones. Most things kids are getting on their TikToks and Instagrams are all negative things, things they shouldn't really be seeing at that age, where the internet's become a cause for good, but also a cause, in my opinion, for a lot worse things that are going on at the moment. So if we can give a little bit back and make things better for people, the way the market is saturated with, you know, highly palatable, can't even say the word, highly palatable foods that are addictive. Palatable, thank you. Palatable foods that are highly addictive and fast and easy and cheap. And the way society is becoming more inactive. Just going to the supermarket in Dubai and seeing the children all overweight and obese. I don't know what these statistics are here. I know in the UK it's one in three children are either overweight or obese now, and it's just creating this terrible cycle, I think, in society. And what are our children going to be like in 20, 30 years? The strain on the health system that's going to cause, the cost of the economy that's going to cause. And I think we're unfortunately in a lot of trouble going forward in the next 10 to 20 years and further on if we don't start trying to deal with these sort of things. So the way that I've kind of set up the academy for the kids is bringing education to kids, as well as teaching them how to go to the gym safe and effectively, how to weight train correctly, educating them on things like nutrition, lifestyle factors, teaching them a simple thing like what is a calorie. I've never taught that at school. It's such a basic requirement.
What is a calorie?
Calorie is a unit of energy that's in food.
Okay. Okay, cool. And why is that important to you specifically? Not the calorie, like the why you do what you do.
Yeah. it does fill me with fulfillment when I feel good when I see kids, finally getting. I think one kid, she's 15 years old, hated coming in. Her parents kind of forced her to come in for about a month, and then about 3 or 4 weeks she started doing hip thrust. Really enjoyed the exercise. Suddenly doing 90 to 100 kg after like 5 weeks of training. She's 15 years old. Started on like 10 kg, and seeing the smile on her face and actually getting that light bulb moment in her eyes where I could see her eyes flicker and go, I'm actually enjoying this process now. And hopefully the resulting effect of that, her confidence as she gets older, her ability to go to the gym on her own when she's an adult and walk into a gym and know what to do, and making that part of her lifestyle, for me is just like incredible. I think that has so many other impacts on work, mood, performance at work, performance at home, strength, the way you feel about yourself. As a young teenage girl, where I know a lot of young teenage girls are swayed by social media. I don't think it's any coincidence that child suicide's gone up tenfold since Instagram came out, especially female, like teenage girl suicide has gone up a lot through online bullying or expectations of ways they have to be through influencers who edit and Photoshop their photos and expect it to look like that in real life. It's just unobtainable results which they just can't get, and why should they look like that? We all have our own individualities, and that's what makes us great human beings. We shouldn't all look the same. The latest trend being all women at certain age, at young ages getting, and you see a lot of it in Dubai in their 20s, all having these big fake lips.
Yeah. Which
I'm personally not a fan of. Some people might be, but everyone just starts to look the same. It's like, no, that's not what makes you individual. What's different about you that makes you special at the end of the day?
Yeah. Okay, so you do it because of what you see, like the changes you see in people.
Yes.
But is there an intrinsic motivator because of the journey that you've been on that made you want to work with children?
Yes, I think if I'd gone to I was very sporty as a kid, but if I'd had all the knowledge now and armed with those tools as a kid, I could have been a lot more physically developed in terms of not just from the way I look. Of course, vanity does play a role, and you feel more confident when you've got nice big muscles and stuff like that, don't we all? But it's more the strength gains I would have had. I would have got a lot less injuries playing sport if I was more robust and stronger. So taking that knowledge and being able to feed that to children now, for me, is just it's amazing, really. And the more we can do that and build the kids coming into the program, the better for me, for sure.
Love that, because
Yeah.
they generally say that you create businesses for your former self.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Not always, but yeah, there is an element of it, especially like a service-based business or a personal brand business. It's very much like you are trying to help people to avoid the mistakes that you've made, to learn the lessons, so they can basically fast track it.
Is that how you feel with your business?
100%.
Yeah.
100%, yeah. So, and it's still work in progress.
Of course.
So I help women to look and feel their best, to get in the best possible shape for them without it taken from their life.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's having children, which has thrown them off track. For other people, it's overworking. And you know me quite well. Overworking is something I still work on very much, and trying to step out of my masculine. So yeah, and I'm not afraid to be vulnerable about that. Like, I will happily share with people, I'm fucking working on this. I want to touch upon something. So you help children to learn about training, learn about nutrition, to do training and to eat well. Now, I worked in Bannatyne, so a big gym in England, for 13 years, well, about 10 years, was it? Probably about 10 years.
Yeah.
And they didn't allow children to train there.
Yeah.
So I still have this is where conditioning comes in, right? Like, I still, when I see children in gyms like we have here, I'm like, fuck, are they doing it? And then I'm like, hang on a minute, this is okay.
Yes.
And I know some women and men that listen to this will be listening to this going, okay, so my child can train.
Yes.
My child should train potentially. What about like whey protein? Like, can you give us like a summary? Like, what is it a good thing? Why is it a good thing? And what should like parents be doing to help their children?
Oh my God, I can go in on this for ages. So this myth of weight training for young people came from a very small study done on twins in the 1970s who both got injuries from powerlifting. So it wasn't a proper study, and for some reason it just kind of took off in the market. It was on the newspapers, and it just kind of rolled and kind of spiraled into that. And it's even now, parents come up to me and go, "Oh, my child shouldn't be doing that." But look at the science behind it. We've got our children playing high impact sports, competitive sports, contact sports, which are far more, your child is far more at risk
Yeah.
of developing injuries from than adding a 10 kilo weight and doing a squat, for example. Let's look at the forces in a joint when a child sprints or runs. It's about 5 to 10 times the body weight through inertia going through a knee joint, which is much more dangerous than, again, just holding 10 kilos and just going up and down. It's a natural movement. So all you're doing with weight training, when done safely and correctly with children, is just slowly building up good movement patterns, good mobility. And people think it makes your muscles tight. It doesn't. It makes you more flexible when you train to a full range of motion in a joint. And then build strength in that range of motion over time. You monitor everything you're doing. You progressively overload by just increasing your reps or weight slightly each week. You periodize the program, so every 6 weeks they're getting a bit of a deload week, so they're getting the nervous system is getting recovery, the muscles are getting some time to repair, and then you change the program slightly with the same concept, mixing up the reps and sets a little bit more, giving them enough rest between sets so they're getting enough quality within the movements they're doing. And I'm not talking about making kids jump over boxes and do burpees and all these fancy other things, which they can do, but what we do is just how do you squat, deadlift, push, pull in different directions, safely and strongly, and then take the foundations and then build that into and then those are the movements that you do in most sports. So how do they transverse into sports? If you've got a sporty kid, they should 100% be doing it. If you haven't got a sporty kid, well, get them into the gym and get them to compete with themselves.
Yeah.
Competing with themselves the previous session. All they're doing is competing with their previous self. They did 10 reps on a squat last week. Why not try 12 reps this week? And they made a small win that day. And the smile on their face, and they just make a small win from that 1 week to the next on our program is just incredible to see. And it's so simple.
So, but why is it important for children to train?
Why is it important? Well, let's go into let's talk about the health benefits first. Increase in bone density, increase in lean muscle tissue, especially going into their teens. During puberty, you see the biggest strength changes from what I've seen. Incredible. Like, I had a 14-year-old I trained for 3 or 4 years on a one-to-one basis, and he was stronger than me by the age of 17. And he weighed 60 kilos. He was clean and pressing 75 kilos over his head.
Fuck.
No problem. Skinny guy, like he was a sprinter.
Oh my God.
Really intelligent guy. One of my favourite clients I ever trained, actually. We trained him consistently 2 to 3 times a week. His mum made the investment, and his mum was fairly well off. She had a really good financial job, but she wanted the best for her son, and he was really into his sprinting, so it was really simple: get him stronger and faster and more powerful, and he could run faster. And doing that in a group setting now, where we're able to affect more changes throughout children is unbelievable. So other benefits, making your children perform better, run faster, jump higher, run for longer, build their engine up. I say to the kids, it's like putting a 3-litre engine in a 1-litre engine car. Change the engine, build the engine. You're going to go faster, be able to run for longer, build your endurance. And then those are just the physical benefits.
Yeah.
So I think psychological benefits. We all know when we exercise, we feel better. If we train at the right intensity, the self-confidence it brings from training. You don't tend to care what other people think so much when you're more confident. So if you're confident, you don't care what people think so much. So you don't care about being judged, which doesn't limit you in other factors of life, like going for that job you might think you want to get, going for meeting new people, putting yourself into awkward social situations. And that's another thing. I think we live in the most social, unsocial era now, where kids can talk to each other on messages all day, or send little snap photos to each other, Snapchat photos to each other. But going up to someone and saying hello is just like almost out of the question. No way, they can't do it. Even ordering a pizza on the phone. It's all done on your phone nowadays, where we'd have to pick up the phone when we were younger. I remember being a bit nervous.
You have to go to the pizza place to get a fucking pizza.
Yeah, and say hello. Or like, I remember the first time I ordered a pizza, I was like, oh my God, I'm a bit nervous doing this. And I was like 8 years old, Mum was like, you do it. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, I can do this.
It's so scary.
Yeah. But nowadays, we don't need to do that. We can just type in things on the phone. It comes to our door within half an hour. So I think confidence can be broken down to so many different elements. And if you have that confidence in your teenage years going into your adult years, and there's a difference between cockiness and confidence as well. And it's that humbleness that weight training can bring to you as well. I think that when you see people stronger than you can lift heavier, oh wow, I want to be able to do that. And there's always someone going to be stronger than you. So
definitely.
So seeing this psychological benefits and that reward of that sense of delayed gratification you get, which we get instant gratification through everything, through dopamine hits on Instagram, in Netflix series you can binge watch in a whole day. So that delayed gratification where you've worked on something, you've built it up over a period of weeks or months, and you're seeing the results back, and you look at your first session you did, back to the session you're doing now, and you're looking at the weights you're lifting, and you're thinking, oh my God, look at the progress I've made. Why can't I do that in other areas of my life? And you can.
And it all transfers.
It's all transferable, and it's so simple.
Okay, beautiful. So what makes you great at what you do?
I think the number one thing is I care. I genuinely do care, and it isn't fun. Of course, financial things do play a part, but it isn't the sole reason why I do this job and why I do what I do. I think it's it's making that difference to people on a day-to-day basis. It's just bringing someone into the class, and just if they feel better leaving, that's your job done for the day. You know, if they feel a little bit better that day, they come in feeling tired and stressed from a day of work. They come in, they've had a good session. You've had a bit of banter with them. You've taken the piss out of each other a little bit, and you've got that nice relationship with them, and they go away feeling happy from that. And you're doing that 2 or 3 times a week for different people, and then you do that on a grander scale. You get the right coaches in to help work for you, who also have the same mindset, who care, who have good banter, who have good knowledge. You can teach knowledge, but you can't teach a good personality, and you can't teach a bubbly kind of character, and that's what we kind of go for within the business that we run. So just doing that on a grander scale, essentially.
So you're good at what you do because you care.
Yeah.
What else?
I'm not scared to be told I'm wrong or change my opinion on certain things. I think maybe when I was younger, I was a little bit like, no, this is the right way, and I'd look at confirmation biases to try and back up my things. Where actually, really, it's okay to be wrong, and admit when you're wrong, and just correct it. And if you're wrong again, correct it again. And maybe we're right now, and then the research might tell us in 10 years that we're wrong, and we do something different.
Yeah, I find that exciting though. Always, like even if you look at cross-cultural, like what's right in England, and I talked about this on a previous podcast, could be wrong in Dubai.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like there are no actual fundamental truths, I don't believe, and things like if you look at science can be disproved.
Yeah.
So something that is scientifically proven, well, yeah, great. Then in 2 years' fucking time, they'll disprove it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all the biases and stuff. Okay, cool.
And
so
looking back to that, actually, it's a lot about the biases that people think coming to Dubai. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. There's a lot of things you can't do in the UK that you can do here. But it's what are the cultural norms that you're used to. Oh, I can't have sex on the beach. Well, you can't do that in the UK. Oh, so a couple got arrested for doing that. Well, you get arrested doing that in the UK.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think here, like in Dubai, it's like simple things like, protesting and things like that. You can't do. Well, you can protest in the UK, and that's great, but there's no need to protest. Well, no. What was I getting at there? I think it was more. There's other things in Dubai, like being able to open a business so easily. It's being open for business. There's less tax burdens here and things like that. So, what's the cost-benefit analysis of that?
And values.
What do you value? If you value protesing more,
stay in England.
Yeah.
Don't come out here.
And I'm not against protesting. I think that's an important part. I've been to protests before in the past. So.
Did you enjoy it?
It was quite fulfilling, actually. It's quite
really?
nice to know you're in a group of people that believe in the same thing. You're not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear in your words there's a desire for external validation.
Yeah, which words?
So the things that you're going to regret the most is if you upset other people, like your friends and family.
Yeah.
Also, like there's an element of like you doing what you do to prove to your dad to a degree. I know that's my words, not yours. And then also there with like when I ask the question like why do you do what you do? It's about like to make other people happy.
Yeah.
So do you agree with that or not?
To an extent, yeah. But that brings me fulfillment and joy, I guess.
Because there's like job satisfaction is a thing, but I think there's a stigma whether coaches should have job satisfaction because it's about the person, not about you. But I actually completely think that's a load of fucking bullshit. And I think if a beautician can have job satisfaction, like why can't a coach? You know, if we are empowering and facilitating change in a human being, why can't we be like, yeah, fucking go me. I love this. I feel so happy about what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
Okay, so final question. This is a big one, and I want you to think about it. What actions, behaviours and transitions are you hoping to go through over the next year?
Actions, behaviours and transitions.
So like, how are you wanting your life to evolve? Like, what are you wanting to change? Like, what is your 360 mission?
I'd like to get into a position where the Level Up business, me and my business partner / boss are building into something that's well known in Dubai. you say F45, we know what that is.
Yeah.
We know what level up is, we know what that is. And then the point with the academy business, which I have a bigger share in, is thriving, and we've got a waiting list for kids to go onto it. From a work perspective, I guess that's kind of my main objective. And to have a kind of, on the side, have a kind of a sustainable passive income as well, where I can sort of kick back, semi-retire almost, work 20 hours a week, keep an eye on things, work hard when I need to, but then kind of step out, leave the country for a week, go on holiday and not worry about things falling to shit while I'm away, and then things maybe fall down a little bit, just need a bit of a kick up the arse to get when I'm back. I think the behaviours for that are just staying consistent. Same with training, consistency is the hardest thing, but the number one thing for anything, whether it's your nutrition, your training, and same things in business, staying consistent, staying disciplined to yourself, to stick to your diary that you've got, or your tasks, day-to-day tasks that need to get done for the big things to happen. And the behaviours, well, I just mentioned behaviours.
So it was actions, behaviours and transitions, but don't hone into those words too much.
Okay.
Just think about 365, like where do you want to be? You've given me professional. What about personal?
Personal. I think a place where, that's a good one actually. I identify so much with what I do. I think personal is being able to play sports for as long as possible. I love playing rugby. I used to play a lot of football, and I kind of fell out of love with football a little bit. Went into rugby because of the kind of the camaraderie in rugby. It's almost like you're going into battle with your friends. It's like that kind of real caveman type mentality. 15 men versus 15 men on the pitch, and being able to, produce the goods on the pitch. And where injuries have really, really set me back in the last 2-3 years, that's something I'd love to do. Just a whole season injury free and really work on my physical attributes for that. And then on the side, get into really just try to focus on jiu-jitsu, maybe compete in a year's time in some small competitions and challenge myself that way as well.
What else outside of like achieving something?
I think just take a chill pill, take a deep breath, and just try to relax a little bit as well sometimes. Always on the go.
So you're like, over the next 365 days, you will be happy if you scale up the academy. You'll be happy if you are playing rugby consistently.
Yeah.
And you'll be happy if you are taking a deep breath, allowing yourself to chill and, slow down a little bit at times.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Anything else?
I think those are the three things that spur to mind straight away. I think if I can persuade more friends and family to move out here, so I can spend more time with them, that'd be great. I've already got a couple of friends moving over. So,
nice.
That'd be good. So just if we could move a few more friends here and make it more of the main thing I miss back home is family and friends, really. And a good fish and chips. That's about it, really. The fish and chips here at a place I've tried so far are not quite the same. So I need to find it.
But you go home, so you can always go and visit
Exactly,
them.
that's true. It's true.
Okay, so just to wrap up, where can people find you? Why would they find you on social? Like, why should they follow you? And give them a bit of insight into how to contact you.
Yeah. You can follow me on at HGG Elite Coaching DXB, bit of a mouthful, or at Level Up Academy, at Level Up Men's, or at Level Up Women's DXB. We've got lots of content on there regarding men's health, women's health, and training for children as well. Talks about our academy, but it also talks about things you can do in your own lifestyle. We're opening an online program in the summer, so that'll be kicking off soon. But for now, if you're in Dubai, come in for a class and come check us out, and you'll definitely learn something even if you come for a week.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
It's been good fun. And for everyone listening, thank you so much for your time as well. Have an incredible rest of your day, and I will see you next week.